Hello and welcome to Space Shark Teaches. I'm Sean from Space Shark Studios, and I'm here to teach you GDScript in Godot 3.1. Let's get started. Welcome to this special lesson on how to animate your character using an animated sprite instead of controlling the frames of a sprite sheet. So to start, we are going to be making a clone of our player by clicking on the scene and hitting Control D. We're going to call this another player. After we have made another player, we should go into scripts, Control D, and make another player script. Once we've done both of those, we can add our another player to the scene and delete the old one. And go into it and make sure that things like the name are updated so that we don't get confused next time we come back and continue on the lessons. So right now, another player is stuck with the problem of we have a sprite. We don't want a sprite. We want to change its type to animated sprite. And then we want to add some new sprite frames. So let's go ahead and change this to animated sprite so we know what it is. And we are going to make 3 different animations. We are going to have an idle. We are going to have a move right, and then a move left. So the problem is we don't have any sprites. That is not an actual problem though, because in the description of this video, you will see a link to a zip file that contains all of these new player sprites that I made for just this occasion. Now you can't drag a folder into Godot's file system, so you're going to have to right-click, open in File Manager, and then copy this player sprite over into this folder. Then we have the real fun job of redoing all of the imports, because for whatever reason there is no way to do a mass import by selecting them all. So once you're done doing all of the re-imports like I am doing right now, we will get on to making all of our animations. Now you remember before, all you have to do to make an animation is thankfully just drag them in. So you can see I have player idle 1 and 2. I drag it in. I set it to 2. Then I can say, all right, I want to idle. And there we go. Our character is now idling. We can go and play the game just like normal, except it crashes. I wonder why. Maybe because we don't have a sprite anymore. So that's not good, but it's okay because we're not done setting this up anyway. So let's go ahead and make the rest. Make our move left. Make our move right. Leave it. Oh, and you can see right here, this is why we make sure that we do the full import to all of these. Otherwise, they will blur. So now we have added them all. When it comes to code, though, if we just click on this, it will bring us to player, and that is not right. What we actually want to do is clear the script and then find that another player script and drag it in. This one, as you can see, another player, is where we can start removing a bunch of stuff because we don't need to know the current frame or the move right or move left start frame or the frames per animation or any of this stuff. We can just go ahead and delete it all. And then we can start renaming and reusing some stuff. So like animation sprite is actually, or animated sprite is animated sprite. We don't need to know any of this anymore. We just need the movement velocity. And then down here in animate, once again, we can delete it all. All we actually need to know is, let's go ahead and reuse some of this. So if you select all of this, you can hit Shift Tab to move it back one. So all we really need to know is animated sprite dot frames animation. That's it. I think it's actually play. So play will let us set the animation that we want to play. So in this case, we want, I think, move right. So let's go ahead and look at animations real quick for animated sprite. Move left and move right. So now we have move right. We can copy, paste in here, move left, and we're actually going to be using a trick here. So if we are moving greater than 0, we want to move right. If we're moving less than 0, we want to move left. But what if we are not moving at all? We can actually do elif, which means if we're moving right, else if we're moving left, else do this instead. So it's, am I doing this? Or is this true? Then do this. Well, if that wasn't true, is this true? Then do this. Well, if both above me weren't true, go ahead and do this instead. If you remember, we had some pretty high values that we set that are not the default here. So let's go ahead and change some of these. So the move speed, I think, was something like 500, 50, and -1000. Let's see if that... Okay, I'm going to turn down the move speed a little bit so that we can see the player's animations a little bit better. But besides that, that looks about right. So everything looks good, right? So you can see the animations. The problem is if you go to the left and stop, your character faces to the right. To fix that, all we need to do is make a variable called moving right. We're going to default moving right to true. And in here we can say moving right is equal to true if we're moving to the right, and moving right is false if we're moving to the left. Then we can use something really fun called animated sprite dot flip h equals not moving right. So what this does is if you go to the animated sprite, if flip h is checked, it will flip along the horizontal axis, which means, well, as you can see, facing right, facing left, facing right, facing left. And remember, we want the default to be, well, we're facing right for all the other animations. But then if we're idling, we want to flip only if we are not facing right. So this right here, this little exclamation point, means not. It negates whatever this is. Now the only issue now is if we move left, we start sliding backwards and moonwalking when we go back again. That is because this gets set and then we start moving again. So we need to actually reset this true or false, sorry, its default state every cycle, and then only flip when we're idling. And that will get us this. So another trick you can actually do, instead of all this, would be, let's actually go ahead and select all this and comment it. We are going to use another fun little secret. If movement velocity is greater than 0, we are going to do, what is it? Animated Sprites dot flip h equals false. Var moving equals false. Moving equals true. Else, if movement velocity is less than 0, add sprite dot flip h equals true. Moving equals true. Else, moving equals false. So what this says is we by default think we are not moving. If we are moving to the right, we don't flip horizontally. If we're moving to the left, we do flip horizontally. In both cases, we are moving. Otherwise, we are not. Then we have one more. If moving animated sprite dot play move right else animated sprite dot play idle. Oops, let's see what is going on here. Oh, forgot one important thing. .x, because we only care about the x dimension there. And there, we kind of actually cheated a bit. So if you look through this, what we're actually doing is saying we're checking to see if we're moving, as well as checking to see which direction we're moving. So if we are moving to the right, we are using the move right animation by default. So you can see move right. If we are moving to the left, we're still using move right. We're just flipping the direction that it's facing. So in that way, we can actually reuse both of these. And by reuse, I mean we can delete move left by clicking that button, and then change it to something like walking. And then in our scripts, we can say walking. Or let's stick with moving since we're already using that. So now we are either moving or we are idle. And we use the direction that we're moving in order to determine which way to face the character. And that's it. We can now go ahead and change this back to 500. So we're zipping around the map again. And that is, I guess, those are a couple more ways that you can animate your character using a little bit of code, and this time a lot more animated sprites. In the next lesson, we are going to be covering animated platforms, so moving them back and forth with code, and then it's on to collecting coins, increasing score, and all the rest. So I'll see you then. Thank you for watching Space Shark Teaches. If you'd like to see more, please subscribe to the channel and remember to click the bell to always stay up to date. Please also join us on our Discord, linked in the comments, and check out our other videos if you ever want to see what else we've been up to. Thanks again for watching, and we can't wait to see what you make.